Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome on into Coffee with Brodes. It's a new week. It's August. It's literally August. It's unbelievable. It doesn't feel realistic, but it is. Here we are. Football season is upon us. The backstretch of Phillies baseball is upon us. As you all know, I don't feel great, and I'm not all, woohoo as some, even though they are 3.5 games back because, well, quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of this up and down insane ride that they put me on, and I was embracing it early on in this season. I said, I can't wait to go on this journey with this team and ride the ride. But now it's like, okay, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm done with it. It's been 3 years. Something needs to change. But I digress. Here we are heading into Washington, D.C. with an opportunity to win some baseball games. It's as simple as that. Now, the Mets are playing the Marlins, so it's not as if they have a tough opponent on their schedule right now at their time. But that's kind of where we are. We have the NBA free agency kicking off. What else is involved? Eagles training camp is now kicking into gear a bit more. You got a padded practice tomorrow. So you'll see a little bit more intensity with all the beat reporters and them filming from the sidelines and things of that nature. Nick Sirianni getting his hands in the mix. So that's also there. And the Bryce Harper conversation that kind of stemmed yesterday is also in play. So, as we always do, make sure you take your fat sip of Joe. Just take your fat sip of Joe to start this bad boy off. It's Monday morning. All right? We all love that first sip. It's even better and it intensifies on a Monday morning. There it is. Adrian, what's up, man? What's going on? I was getting flamed for that tweet. Yeah, look, I mean, it's funny. It's sort of like the headline that, you put out a headline for an article. Nobody actually reads. No one read the article. They're just reacting to what the headline says. I'm not even putting that much blame on Bryce Harper in terms of offensive production and the way that he's hitting the baseball. It's none of that at all. It basically comes down to when I think of a leader on this baseball team, I expected that to be Bryce. That is not the case. And it's been 3 years of Bryce Harper really not leading that much. I'm not talking about on the field production. I'm talking about the intangibles. Everyone loves the intangibles with Jalen Hurts. That's all they can talk about. Oh, he's so amazing here. Oh, he can lead so well. The way that the locker room approaches him and the vibe that he gives off, it's stellar. Well, you don't have that with Bryce. And I would have expected the $330 million man to have that. That doesn't mean he stinks. That doesn't mean he can't produce offensively. It doesn't mean that he's garbage. It doesn't mean that he's pathetic. I like Bryce Harper. I like Bryce Harper a lot. But there's something to be said. I know it hurts to say that, and it's hard to criticize an individual who chose Philadelphia, right? I mean, that's something that this fan base is struggling with. But if you objectively look at Bryce Harper from a leadership role, he's not what you probably expected him to be when you thought of the face of the franchise in Bryce Harper. And that's okay to admit. It doesn't mean that he's a garbage baseball player. We expected a bit more in the leadership department. It has not been to that level, and that's okay to say. Doesn't mean he sucks. See, that's the problem. You can't separate the two if you're someone who's just like in love with Bryce and will defend him till you die, if you will, because there's some that just can't separate it. No, look at his OPS. Trust me, I see his OPS. I watch every game. I got, how many comments I got that said, typical Philadelphia fan that doesn't watch baseball. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't watch baseball. That's right. Okay, I don't watch baseball. I just laugh. I laugh at some of those. What's up, Justin? What's going on? He says, good morning, Brodes. Do you think the Sixers will sign? Who do I think they will sign for free agency for a minimum contract? I honestly, it kind of goes back to where the NBA draft was, and now you're seeing all this news with Kyle Lowry, the Miami Heat, the Woj bomb dropped yesterday. It's kind of a weird situation to be in because, hey, maybe there's some tampering going on. Maybe there's some conversations happening behind closed doors before it should be happening, and you're basically admitting that. But with the minimum contract and the MLE and things of that nature, I can't truly get invested into that because of the Ben Simmons cloud that's covering the Sixers organization. So quite frankly, I don't know who they're going to sign when it comes to the cheaper contracts and the MLE and things of that nature, because all I could think about is what are they going to do with Ben? How is Ben going to be traded? what are they going to acquire? Who are they going to discuss with next? Is it Golden State? I thought it was going to be the Raptors, to be honest with you. My gut told me the whole Kyle Lowry noise, there was going to be a marriage between the Sixers and the Raptors, but it looks like he might be headed to Miami. So now I have to redirect my gut feel. So I'm so in on where does Ben go, and then you see the news yesterday. By the way, it was who said that yesterday about Tobias Harris? I'll see exactly who it is. I saw it on Twitter. He works for Mad Dog Sports Radio. He does some serious stuff. Mitch Lawrence. Mitch Lawrence tweeted this out yesterday. Besides trying to trade Ben Simmons, the Sixers are shopping Tobias Harris. The Rockets are one of the teams that turned down Harris, per sources. So, I mean, it looks like Daryl Morey is working on all options. I will say this. If there's ever a scenario where Tobias Harris gets moved and you're still with Ben Simmons, that does nothing for me. It does nothing for me. I get it. Tobias Harris is overpaid for his 20 points per game, and that definitely would be interesting. I'm not anti. It's not like I wouldn't do it at all because it does open up your cap flexibility and what you could provide and bring in for this franchise. But your number one issue is still here. Your number one issue is still wearing a 76ers jersey. He can't shoot a basketball. So I don't care if you just move Tobias and you bring Ben back. That doesn't fix the problem. The problem's Ben Simmons. So I'd be willing to look down that road, no doubt. I'm willing to have that conversation on Toby as well. But that's not what I'm looking for this offseason. There's more than just that. What do I think about Kyle Gibson's start? This is from Adam. It was good, obviously, right? I mean, he was strong. It was that third inning where he recorded 2 easy outs and then he walked the opposing pitcher, then got into a bit of a funk. But other than that hiccup in the third inning, it was basically what I expected it to be against the Pittsburgh Pirates team. That's flat out disgraceful. That's what you should have saw for majority of this series, but they don't come to play for 2 of the games. And it's like, in what universe? Your franchise, your president of baseball operations just made a move to buy at the deadline, and you respond with a 7-0 beatdown to the worst team in baseball. I mean, it's honestly horrendous. But they're 3.5 games back, and that's what it keeps going back to. They're 3.5 games back. They're 3.5 games back. They're 3.5 games back. 3.5 games back. And I know what might happen tonight. The Mets are going to lose or something, and the Phillies are going to win. It's, they're only 2.5 games back. It's like, I just don't know how to comprehend this anymore. I really don't. John says, what's up, Brodes? Man, these Phillies are disturbing. I know. It's really hard to invest in them, and it's difficult because you know deep down, you know exactly who they are. You know all the problem. The base running mistakes yesterday. Yeah, they beat down on a team that's embarrassing. But you know what else is embarrassing? What are they doing when they're running around the bases? Now, it's not going to be discussed. It's not going to be heavily criticized. Why? They won the game and they scored, 15 runs. They had 20 hits. But you can't do that. That's losing baseball. That's losing games when you're not playing a team that doesn't know how to fully operate. That team had no idea how to play the damn game. They don't. They don't know how to play the Pittsburgh Pirates, which is why losing the first 2 games is unacceptable. But when you run around the bases the way that you do, you deserve to lose. You lose those games because of those decisions and those moments against 95% of Major League Baseball. So come on now. It's crazy. What's up, Zach? What's going on, man? Thank you so much for coming into the stream. As always, I appreciate you. Iverson says, with the news of Tobias Harris also being shopped, do you think you could package that up with Ben? Now, no, I think that's a little too extreme. I don't know who's taking on that type of money and taking on Ben and Tobias Harris. Now, maybe when you say package him with Ben, if you're talking about multiple team trades and it's one trade, but there's multiple teams involved and now you're getting real crazy and real wonky, then yeah, maybe that if that's the case where Tobias is going to one team, Ben's going to another team, and you just work multiple partners into the trade deal, then yeah, if you think about Ben and Tobias to one team, I don't see that being realistic. You're talking about how much money. I mean, that's almost literally impossible thinking about the money that is. And also, you're talking about multiple teams to even make it work financially. So I guess anything is possible with Daryl Morey. I don't think Tobias Harris is going to be getting moved. I can see why Daryl Morey is trying to move Tobias Harris. And I always fall back on this. If Al Horford could be moved for that money, couldn't Tobias Harris be moved? Absolutely. But I just think it's going to be insane to do. And if they think that Tobias Harris is going to move out of town and Ben Simmons stays, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And if you do move Ben and Tobias, you really just have Joel Embiid and Seth Curry. You have a lot to do. Of course, you'd be getting players in return. But that's a lot to shake around. That's a big, 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 big change. Big change. And I'm not anti the big change. I'm just saying. I mean, that's massive. But Daryl Morey is known for what? Massive moves. Major moves. Russell Westbrook. James Harden. Chris Paul. So, for sure. John says, I think the Eagles are going to be better than we think. That's the classic. The classic, it's August, right? Because, John, I want your honest thought, John, or your honest answer. If I ask you this, how did you feel after last season? Were you in the category of they need 5 years to rebuild this team? They're going to win one football game next year. They're an absolute disgrace, and they're never going to win again under Howie Roseman. Like, how did you feel after last season watching that go down? And I want to compare that to your statement right now. I want your honest answer on how you felt the day the Eagles season was over and you thought about their future. How many games were you looking? Were you like, wow, this roster's a disaster. They're going to be embarrassing. Howie Roseman sucks. He's the worst general manager in the history of sports. Or did you think, they'll be all right next year? Where were you? Big D wants to know how I feel about the whole Carson Wentz injury. It's a shame. Like, I feel horrible for the dude. I know it's easy to slander him. There's a lot of slandering going on from this fan base because, Carson got hurt again. I look at it more from like, I want to see this guy play. I want to see him compete. I want to see him in a new city. I want to see him with the Colts. I want to see what he's got in him. I want to see if he was the problem. If it was the Eagles that was the problem, what was the problem? I want answers. So I'm devastated that he's hurt. And now apparently he's not going to get the surgery. They're going to try and do it without the surgery, which to me is the classic Deshaun Jackson thing. They waited and waited like, hey, we'll wait it off. We'll put it up. Well, you need it. You need it. It's something that actually has to happen. So stop. It needs to happen. You're pushing off the inevitable. Tyler Glass now, same situation. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to rehab. I'm going to do this. Well, I need Tommy Johns. Oh, shocker. As if nobody saw that coming. Get the damn surgery and then figure it out from there. It's August. Get yourself back out there middle of the season if that's the case. But I feel horrible, like right now, sure, the first round pick, it doesn't look great. Percentage of snaps wise or whatever the case. I think there's another one, which is make the playoffs. I think. Don't quote me on that. I'll look up the Eagles Wentz compensation pick details. I think that there's one where if they make the playoffs, it is okay, hold on. Here's a look at their pick. So the second round can turn in the first rounder if one of two things happen. Wentz plays 75% of the snaps. Wentz plays 70% and makes the playoffs. Okay, so he still has to play a percentage of the snaps and make the playoffs. But yeah, I'm pretty devastated about it. $2 coming in from Emmanuel. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you so much for the donation, man. I really appreciate that. He comes in and says, hey, Brodes, would you take Simmons for DeRozan and Murray trade? Maybe players and picks added to work, etc. Greetings from Grease Man. Love the show. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate all the support. Thank you. This would fall under the category of last scenario. So if you can't get what you want and Daryl Morey swinging and missing, and the last few options on the table after all that is your Colin Sexton deals, your Malcolm Brogdon deals, or your Murray and DeRozan type deals, I'd have to really sit there and analyze it fully more. Right now, just off the chest, without like fully legitimately dissecting this, because you got one shot. You got one shot at trading Ben Simmons. So, like if you're giving me 3 seconds to answer, I mean, I will tell you that yes, I'm legitimately discussing that. But it's my floor. You talk about the floor. I'm having the conversation, and I'm taking in the data, and I will digest that trade offer. It's not an automatic no. I'm willing to converse about it, but that's after I can't get some top dogs. That's after I try other offers, and I'm not getting that. I was a little surprised by Daryl Morey and the attempt for the first round picks with the Golden State Warriors, to be honest with you. I just don't see how that fits the mold of where Joel Embiid is, because it's a lot of picks and Wiggins and Wiseman. I like Wiseman, but I don't see, that being the pairing you need to go win a championship, obviously. So unless Daryl Morey had a step two in play, which was let me package up those assets we get from Golden State and then acquire maybe that player that we're looking for to pair up with Joel Embiid, then that's a different story. But I was a little shocked and surprised by the Golden State Warriors, the offer that the Sixers sent to them. I really liked Kyle Gibson pitched yesterday. He looked awesome. Can the Phillies hit like this all year, please? No. The answer is no. They are a very average, statistically offensive team. So for every game that this happens, you have your 7-0 shutout and your one hit against a 6.13 ERA. So unfortunately, that's where that is. Okay, so John gets back to my question. When I asked how disgusting or how disgusted he was last year compared to how he is now, this is what he said. I think they were 10-26. Oh, this is. Nope, he did not get back to me. Oh, okay, here we go. Sorry, wrong one. If the Eagles can have a healthy O-line, I believe it would be a lot better. But what's with Rager's mama? I guess he's just not answering the question. Oh, here we go again. Sorry, there were a lot of comments from John. I apologize. I was looking for the specific one. Yeah. See, I knew that. So John is your classic, and there's nothing wrong with this. I'm just saying. This is how it always goes. Every Eagles fan by August convinced themselves that they're better than what you thought they were. Every time. Every time. So at the end of last season, you need 5 years of a rebuild. You're a terrible team. Howie Roseman sucks. By August, Howie Roseman makes moves, signs 1-year deals, brings in some veterans, helps out the core a bit, and now it ends up being, I think they're going to be better than we expected. Well, no shit. no shit, John. It's just, when you're in that moment, everyone thinks Howie's terrible. And there's my one biggest concern here, and, outside of what's Jalen Hurts and what's Nick Sirianni is, if one guy goes down, there's a part of me that gets nervous about the depth. If one guy gets injured, are we talking about the Jaquettes of the world? And are we talking about Avonte Maddox going to the outside? And now you have a hole in the slot with the nickel corner. And is that kind of where we're going to have an issue? And, there's some limitations involved. Carson Wentz's contract and the dead cap. And, you're not going to be a playoff team this year. You're not going to be the top of the top this year. So the expectations better than what you thought they were. To me, well, if you thought they were going to win one game, yeah, it is. They're not in the 10-win category. I don't know how people are getting to that level. They're probably going to be a six-win football team. 6 wins, not last year's pain, more entertaining. Sundays will be fun. You have fun Sirianni moments, maybe. If he wins his first game after Atlanta, I can only imagine what his post-game pressure is going to be like. You think I'm nuts after drinking a couple cups of coffee? He's probably going to be bouncing off the damn walls, huh? Bouncing off the damn walls. Oh, man. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Dylan thinks the Eagles will win 5 games, but are still going to be involved in the games. And that's okay. Look, I'll take that. This is a growing season for sure. And it's pretty basic for me. Win-loss total, not really what I'm looking at. It's what's Nick Sirianni. It's what's going on with Jalen Hurts. We need answers. This is sort of we need to ask some questions, and we need to find out some answers to set this franchise up for the next handful of years. Is Jalen Hurts the guy? Is he not the guy? How do we feel about Nick Sirianni, although he's going to have more than just one season to prove himself, as he should, and this whole entire staff, as he should. But, yeah, I mean, what's Jonathan Gannon? I had Zach Berman, who covers The Athletic, covers the Eagles for The Athletic on 97.5 The Fanatic this weekend. And, he's really talking about the versatility in Jonathan Gannon's scheme, the different looks it's going to bring, how it's different from what Jim Schwartz brought to the table. And there was some praise there involved. And, just the difference in style that you're going to get out of Jonathan Gannon. And I'm really looking forward to that. So it's really just about getting answers, not so much going to win the Super Bowl. We need answers to our questions to set up this franchise, to make the proper moves, and to take that assessment and then, apply that to offseason acquisitions, NFL draft next year, things of that nature, Hungry no longer. Brodes, the GOAT. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Keep crushing it, brother, he says. Thank you so much for chiming in, dude. I really do appreciate all the support from everybody. It really is overwhelming how much love and support I see in the chat and the comments every day on Twitter. You guys really are the best in the business. Best in the business. Philadelphia, what's up, bro? What's going on? How many fantasy football teams this year, bro? So, I've been pretty consistent on this for a while. A lot of people ask me about fantasy and this and that. Maybe this is a hot take in the football world, but I have one league. I have one league that I legitimately do with a bunch of my buddies now for 5-6 years, but I'm not a huge fantasy guy. I don't love it as much as other people love it. People love fantasy football like I do watching football. I can't do that. I just want to enjoy football. I want to watch Red Zone because I love football. But people love fantasy as much as I just enjoy the National Football League. And I don't get that. Like, that's not football to me. It's like a whole side topic. That's fine. The side topic's fun. I get why it's fun, but it should never overpower the actual enjoyment of the game of football. To some, that overpowers what football is. And it just gets taken to this wild extreme that I just personally can't comprehend. Do I like live drafting? What, like getting with my boys, having the beers, enjoying the day, you know what I mean? Drinking some cold ones and having some food sitting around the table, drafting and all? Yeah, of course. Of course, that's fun. It's a fun environment. I'll be honest with you. That's what I enjoy the most out of fantasy football. The group chat, chirping one another, talking shit, right? Just like getting into each other's faces. You suck, you blow, you're going down. Like the camaraderie, if you will, of talking smack and all. I enjoy that more than actually like, let me check. I'll be honest. I set my lineup, and then when Sunday's over, it's like, oh, let me check how many points. I don't have 7 laptops open, my iPad wide up on my app where I'm looking at the points, and I'm like, okay, I need this amount of touches for Zeke. Like, no. When the day's over, how'd I do? I'm not big on it. I love football. I don't love fantasy football. Nah, see, Adrian, I don't do that. I don't have my fantasy app scrolling down. Oh, let me refresh or whatever. Like, let me see what's going on. No, I know who the opponent has that I'm watching. I know who my opponent has, and I'm looking and whatever. But it's more like, okay, how'd I do? All right, what do I need for Monday night? People go overboard. That's all. Nah, see, I can't do too many teams. Too many teams is too much for my liking. Well, I got 12 teams, and now I got to watch 17 different players, and now one team is playing another team that I need. You know what I mean? It's like I need, I don't know, Zeke to score touchdowns, but he's going up against my defense in one league, and I need both of these wins. No. Give me one league to put all my focus on, all the focus that I have, which is a small percentage of my sports fandom, on the one league, the one team. That's how it works for me. The worst thing is when you have Dak playing for you on Sunday night against the Birds and you need 30 points to win. Yeah, that's definitely a disappointing feeling for sure. See, I don't understand the anti-drafting the Cowboys. I'll draft any Cowboy. I don't give a damn. They're going to do what they're going to do. You drafting them does not influence their play. If they somehow had magic powers where the more people who drafted them, or if you drafted them specifically, they play better on Sundays, well, then it's a different story. Obviously, that's literally impossible and makes no sense, but you get my point. Zeke is going to score 4 touchdowns with or without me hitting him on draft day. So I'm taking his ass because those 4 touchdowns matter to me. Now, last year, he had a down season, had some fumbles, and maybe lost some body language. The body language was not smooth, and maybe he did not get as many carries as he wanted to or you would have anticipated. So, sure, but you understand my point. Of course, we put money down on the league. Of course. Absolutely. Now, see, what do you mean? Rule number one, never draft Cowboys. No, no, no. That's foolish. I got money on this league. I'm trying to win money. They're going to accomplish whatever they accomplish on the field with or without me selecting them. Therefore, if they're going to put up numbers, give me those points. I'm taking those points. I'm anti not drafting a player because of the team they play on. Why? I'm trying to win money. That's like if I'm on my DraftKings Sportsbook, and of course you can utilize DraftKings Sportsbook. Use promo code Brodes when you sign up for fantastic odds and promotions. If the Cowboys are at a line that I like and I think they're going to win, or if I see some decent value on the money line, I'm taking the Cowboys. I care about my money, damn it. I'm trying to pay the bills. I got a water bill. I got a mortgage. I got food to pay for. I got to buy my coffee. If the Cowboys can win can win me money and I'm buying my ass coffee, damn right. Damn right. Well, see, Zach, this breaks the number one rule of fantasy football. Zach says, Brodes, you got to show us your team after your draft. Rule one of fantasy football is no one cares about your fantasy football team. That's just reality of the situation. No one cares about how many points you're down. No one cares about your team. No one cares about your IR. No one cares about your tight end situation. No one cares about your fantasy football team. That is rule number one of fantasy football. I'll be honest with you. There's a hole I did not expect to kind of go down today. Was the fantasy football conversation. By the way, I don't know if anyone has checked out any of this baseball in the Olympics, but USA is beating Japan 6-5 in the ninth inning with one out. It's actually been pretty nice watch here. Pretty nice, entertaining morning watch. I got up early today. It was kind of nice. Normally it's, hey, if I got to be on coffee with Brodes at 9, I'm probably up at 8:45, 8:40, 20 minutes to go. Hit the brew button, turn the computer on, blah, 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 blah. But today it was like, hey, you know what I mean? I like an hour and a half. I got up a little bit earlier. I was watching some TikToks. I'm not going to lie, scrolled in bed for about 15, 20 minutes, but it was nice. I put on some baseball as well on the TV. It's a nice morning. I should try this more often, I'll be honest with you. Now, I say that all the time. Like, I should get up a little bit earlier and walk the dog to the mailbox instead of letting him out back, or the fiance taking him to the mailbox and take a nice piss in the morning. You know what I mean? Get up, stretch, move the legs. I say that all the time. And then guess what? Tomorrow comes around and I'll be up at 8:42. And I'll have 18 minutes to hit the button, turn on my computer. I got to get better at that. You're up at 6 on the West Coast? Wow, you're up at 6 a.m., huh? You're a 6 a.m.er? I like that feel. Don't get me wrong. When I do it, I actually like it, but doing it is aggressive. Like the other day, I forget what I had to do, but I got up and went to the gym at 6:30. I was foam rolling at 6:30, and there was a bit of me like, wow, what am I doing? And then afterwards, I was done around 8:39. I'm like, it feels so much like when you're done, it's like, wow, that actually felt great. But to do that every day, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to get to a point where after day 4, I'm thinking, why don't I just go at 1 p.m. in the afternoon and not wake up at 6 a.m.? You know? Former Philly David Robertson with a solid hold for Team USA left his bullpen woes in Philly. It seems a lot of teams or a lot of players seem to do that when they go to a different team. The problem with David Robertson was there wasn't anything wrong with the signing. There wasn't anything wrong with the contract. His longevity spoke for himself. He never had issues. He did not have issues for a long period of time, and that was just unfortunate. To me, there was nothing wrong with looking at David Robertson, looking at his track record, looking at his history, and thinking that you could bring him to your bullpen and help out with that piece. Just unfortunately did not work out due to injuries, but that wasn't ever an issue in his career. It just unfortunately happened when he got to Philadelphia. I could support that contract. I could support the logic without knowing what happened and without the hindsight involved. I had no problems with signing David Robertson. It's just, I guess maybe the handling of once you found out the injuries and all is another discussion. But signing him was not really a problem with his track record. And he says, Brodes, I'm late. Is Harper must watch for you right now? Yeah, I mean, he's tearing it up offensively, no doubt about it. He signed that 2-year, $23 million contract with the Phillies that season, and he barely played. Going back to his stats previously, he gave you 68 innings, 62 innings, 69 innings, 63 innings, 64 innings, 66 innings, 60 innings, 66 innings, 61 innings, all in consecutive years going back to 2010. So there was nothing really there to tell you he's just going to break down insanely. And yeah, obviously at age 33, it's a lot different than being 29. But guess what? At 31, at 32, at 33, he gave you almost 70 innings almost at age 33. So 1 year later, he kind of falls apart. And I get it. Yeah, you got to be more conscious of that at age 34. But I had no problems with it. It just didn't work out. Back with Harper. Yeah, offensively, he's been tremendous. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We'll love to see more home runs, though. He only has 16 home runs, but his batting average, he's hitting over 300. His OPS is very clean. He's playing well offensively. That's for damn sure. But the problem is this team I hate so much that it impacts my feel for Harper, unfortunately. Whether that's fair or not, whether that's right or wrong, when I think about this baseball team, I don't have that energy. Therefore, when Bryce Harper is up to bat, I lose some power to that energy compared to where it should be with him playing this hot. And that's just reality. As a Nationals fan, probably going to split. Yeah, I could see that happening. I'm curious to see if there's a sense of urgency from this baseball team in the Phillies. But why? Why would that be the case? They have not won a series since the Marlins series, which is the first series after the All-Star break. They've split, they got swept. Actually, they got swept, then they split too, if we're thinking about it in chronological order. And after that, they lose to the Pittsburgh Pirates in Pittsburgh in such a devastating way. So are they probably going to split? Yeah, I mean, look, they don't have Trey Turner anymore. They don't have Max Scherzer. That's a big-time difference. They're throwing Ranger Suarez. Who comes after that? Would it be Chase Anderson? Is it Ranger Suarez, Chase Anderson, Zach Wheeler? Is that how it ends up playing out? I'll look exactly right now at the MLB scoreboard to see who is going. So it's okay. It's Suarez, Wheeler, then it's Vinny V, which would be Chase Anderson. Because okay, so I was right, just out of order. They switched Vinny V, obviously, at this point. Hot take: Phillies are going to sweep the Nationals. Yes, that is a very hot take considering it's a 4-game series. And it would be a hot take if it was a 3-game series. Trust me, the 4-game series, let's be clear, is not the reason on why it's a hot take. There's probably 10 billion other reasons why why that would be a hot take, but it is a way more difficult to sweep a 4-game series than a 3. No, I'm probably not going to go to any Eagles training camp. I'm not really a big autograph guy either, to be honest with you. So probably not. Probably not. Adam says Ranger as a starter feels odd. I mean, that's really what he is, though. At the end of the day, when you look at Ranger Suarez, that's what he was. He got thrown into the bullpen because they were that desperate. But where I have the problem is you finally saw success, right? You finally saw someone step up in an area that really needs it. They need help in that spot. They are not good at the bullpen. So they get him in that role, and he's succeeding. Now let's automatically throw him in another direction. It just shows the dysfunction of this franchise. It kind of relates to where Spencer Howard was. Now, I don't know if anybody saw this, but Spencer Howard spoke to the Texas Rangers media yesterday, and he had a big smile on his face, very happy to be out of Philadelphia, and basically mentioned what I just brought up. There was a lot of moving all over around, really being in odd situations, and it was hard for him to get into rhythm. While I agree on what he said, the tone made it seem like he was unwilling to admit that he had his own personal flaws involved throughout that stretch as well. I think it's fair to say both. I wasn't good enough, when I had my moments and when I had my opportunities, I also did not love the way I was used there, and the usage was a little bit funky. And when Zach Eflin went down, he had an injury and they needed a starter, so they utilized me, and I don't think they planned to do it that way. So there were some unfortunate circumstances for sure. I also did not love my play personally and thought I could be better in a lot of those outings. But yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of emotional time in Philadelphia, and I'm happy to be here in Texas. He could spin it a lot different. It seemed like he was unaware. It sort of felt Ben Simmons-ish, where, is he oblivious? Does he have no clue? Does he think it's only because of X, Y, and Z and not himself internally? Because there's a bit of both, right? I mean, there's definitely a middle ground here where, yes, there's some on you and there's some on the way you were handled, but let's not just pretend that it was none on you. None on you. That's extreme. Fran says, Brodes, is Suarez an opener? I didn't get to hear Girardi. So I don't think it's full on opener, like a 1 inning situation. From my knowledge, what I saw was they're going to work his load back up, which they obviously need to do, but maybe it's more of a 3 inning thing. So Matt Gelb tweeted this out a couple days ago. The Phillies are starting their closer, Ranger Suarez, on Monday. They have made the decision to put him back in the rotation. He'll begin at 3 innings and then build him from there. Matt Moore is now in the bullpen. Ian Kennedy will close. So, I mean, 3 innings, is that really an opener? Not necessarily, in my opinion. When I think opener, at least for me, I think of 1 inning. It seems more of a piggyback more than anything else than just an opener. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see Ranger Suarez. Hey, Brodes, good morning. Just got in. Hope I didn't miss too much. Well, we were yapping for 40 minutes, but there's still 20 to go. So you probably did miss some. I will admit. I'm not going to lie to you. But the conversation continues. Spencer Howard is soft as two-ply, complaining the difficulties of playing a game. Well, I mean, no, there's truth to it, though. There's truth. He's not wrong. It's clear as day the Phillies messed up the Spencer Howard debacle. They messed up the way that he should have been used. You don't do that. You don't do what you did to Spencer Howard. With that said, your velocity was dipping 5 miles per hour because of your lack of endurance, because of you, because of you, because of you. So I hated the way the Phillies used Spencer Howard. Spencer Howard also sucked. Both are true. It's not easy to be that young in the major leagues. And look, it's hard to be in the major leagues in general. It's hard to have a role in Major League Baseball in general. Now go from starter to bullpen to AAA to starter to bullpen to starter to AAA to starter when you're the number one pitching prospect in the organization. That's not how you handle pitching prospects, high pitching prospects in your prospect system. Like, that's a correlation between not being able to develop prospects properly. That is a defining moment on why this team struggles in that area, because they don't properly give them the right time and the right way to learn at this level. Brendan asks, what's the biggest hole on the Eagles roster heading into this season? Biggest hole to me is probably depth. Depth. You're one injury away from Foot Locker employees again. So, I mean, you probably need I know one hot topic flying around town right now is a wide receiver veteran, because a lot of your wide receivers right now are very young and raw. Is your most veteran receiver Greg Ward? Because you have what? Devontae, who got hurt, but it's not serious. Jalen Reagor, who got hurt, but apparently not serious. Greg Ward, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Who else am I missing? Fulgham, linebacker. Yeah, I mean, right now they have Eric Wilson and Alex Singleton. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a hole, but it's not the best it could be. That's for damn sure. When I think of a hole on this team, I'm thinking, okay, before Steven Nelson, there was a hole at cornerback too. That was filled. There's not a hole at linebacker right now. It's just probably not the strongest linebacking core that you could come up with, but I don't know if that's necessarily a hole. I think it's just a depth in general. Depth. Because you're one injury away from a huge debacle. Did I hear Spencer Howard's press conference? Yes, I did. That's why I am referencing this. That's how I'm referencing this. That's so funny. I love people that are tweeting at me about Bryce Harper and the leadership qualities. Oh, okay. Um, Thoughts on Tobias Harris trade rumors? Yeah, we touched on this a little bit earlier. With Tobias, I think it'll be more of a situation where um, you're willing to shop him. Obviously, you know the contract situation, you know the production, you know the performance. If you can find someone to open up some cap relief by trading Tobias Harris, absolutely. But it comes down to Ben Simmons. If you bring back Ben Simmons with Joel Embiid and just move Tobias Harris, well, then you're not doing enough. That's not really fixing the problem. That's not fixing the major problem. The major problem is Mr. 25. The major problem is Ben Simmons can't shoot a basketball. So it's not the greatest in the world if they just move on from Tobias. Does it help? Sure, I think it helps depending on what you bring back in return and how you fill that hole. You know, it's not just moving on from him and then you can plug in anybody. It definitely matters because you are losing 20 points per game. And while he's overpaid, he still brings you an element to this team at the stretch forward position that can take advantage of mismatches with his size and with his ability to, score the basketball, hit the mid-range jumper. I know he missed some bunnies late in the playoffs and he's had some disappointing moments. He's also had some very strong moments and big moments for this team, closing out games with Joel Embiid and being a Robin for him for a long period of time this last season. So there's a lot to it. It's not as simple as he sucks, he blows, just get rid of him. You got to fill that in properly. But if Ben Simmons is still here, that's the issue. That's the issue. Summer League starts in a week. I can't wait to watch the kids. Yeah, it's weird for me though, because even same with the draft and free agency, with some of these mid-level guys and all, like there's so much happening with the stars of this team that until that gets figured out, sure, I'm going to watch to see what Springer's all about. I'm going to watch him and I'm going to see, how he plays in this environment, and I'm going to discuss it and I'm going to witness him, and I'm looking forward to it to a degree, but I got my mind on what's Daryl Morey doing about Ben Simmons. Anything Sixers related can't go past what's Ben Simmons going to where's Ben Simmons going to go? What's Daryl Morey going to do with Ben Simmons? So, yeah, look, Summer League, it'll be fun. You'll see some basketball. Where's Ben Simmons going? When's the Ben Simmons trade happening? No matter what we talk about, that's where it goes. No matter where the Sixers topic goes, we always lean back to Ben Simmons because that's the major franchise discussion. If Ben's confidence is the biggest hitch in his shot, there's just no way he can play in Philly. No doubt about it. Oh, no doubt about it. Like, this is not the time or the spot for him to work on that. Another year in Philadelphia. That's not the place for him to get over this mental hurdle and this hump that is keeping him back. You got to go to a Sacramento. You got to go to a team where the expectations are not extreme and, there's a low bar, I guess, and you're not being demanded to win a championship right now. Like, you need to just be in a totally different environment where you can just let the game come natural to you and pick your spots there, where it's not Ben. It's been 5 years. All right, it's time. Sacramento, they're not going to care. Their sports talk radio is not going to destroy him because he's not taking that next level right away. And give him time to adapt, and it just buys him more time to get into a better mental spot. It's just not going to happen here. That's for sure. Dylan says, Brodes, I told you last week we start the season with him on the team, and I will be discussing. It's too early to think that way. As free agency moves on and as you see more players get off the board, I think then it's more logical to talk about if he returns. But right now, free agency literally did not even start yet, right? Like, we're talking about free agency that begins tonight. We're getting too far ahead of ourselves to question if he's coming back. I think as you see this thing play out, and more time passes and you see more things occur, then it's more realistic maybe to bring up the dialogue if he's still here. But right now, it's way too raw and there's way too many moving parts. And Daryl Morey's still on a mission where just give it some time, is all I'm saying. Give it some time. Is our response to Ben Simmons trade going to be, really? That's it? Well, I guess that's very situational depending on the individual. Right? It depends on who the person is. To me, no, not necessarily. There's probably going to be, like, Bradley Beal is not going to happen. Damian Lillard is the only guy flying around there that would move the needle for us in a big way. So outside of Beal and Lillard, which I don't think you're going to get either of them, to be honest with you. But I know Daryl Morey is making the push as much as possible to try and land Damian Lillard, but it's a little bit of a wonky situation. He wants out, but he's not admitting he wants out, but he wants out, but it's not coming out as smooth as maybe James Harden did. And when I say smooth, I'm talking about just like the demanding of, I'm out of here, I'm not playing. He's playing that fine line of, I'm still a good person, but please, I would like to go in a different direction of my career. He's playing that good Samaritan card in Portland because he loves the city, but it's clear he definitely wants to try something new. And with that, outside of Beal and Portland, like, there's not many pieces at that level. There's not that many players at that level. So it all depends on how that individual analyzes this situation. Reality is, you're probably not going to get those type of players. You're not. If Daryl Morey is making offers for first-round picks, Wiggins and Wiseman, I think that's basically telling you the level of compensation that you should be looking for. I mean, there's a lot of versatility here, a lot of different directions he went in, because then you could look at the package that he tried to acquire from Toronto, and it's like, wow, that is significantly different than a bunch of first-round picks, Wiseman and Andrew Wiggins. So I guess there's a lot on the table and a lot of different paths that he can go down when it comes to at least offering packages. Obviously, nobody's biting yet, and there's a reason why he's going in strong with this obnoxiousness, because he's playing the game, he's playing the psyche game, and he's the used car salesman with the white button-down shirt that's short-sleeved with the tie, trying to sell you a vehicle for a lot more, knowing the price is going to come down when there's a counter, and then you'd be okay with coming down because you went so high to begin with. That coming down is still a good package. But yeah, it just depends. It just depends on how you feel individually as a person. If your expectations are too high, then yeah, you're going to say, really, that's it. If you kind of see the direction of where this is trending, then no. Check the Phil's schedule. The Phil's get to play a lot of sellers after the deadline. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why we discussed this at the All-Star break, that their schedule opens up. But what does that mean? The Braves stink. The Nats stink. They split both of those series. The Pirates stink. They lost the series. Like, as many times as we talk about, what's going on here? You got to be kidding me. Japan tied it up 6-6. You got to be kidding me. Did they just tie it up 6-6? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Not good. Album of the day? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it yet. I haven't really thought about my album of the day. It's been a couple days since I threw one out, to be honest. Yeah, I agree here. The schedule doesn't really matter anymore. It's about the Phillies in general, It's about the Phils. They're just not the team you need them to be. What are your expectations for Jalen Hurts? I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to fall in that category of, he's not great, but he's not going to be terrible. He's going to show you flashes. He's going to show you rookie mistakes, if you will, young, raw mistakes. And at the end of it, he's going to be okay. And that might be tough because you're going to have to make a decision on him with all the compensation that you have for next season and all the assets that you have for next season that you would like to pile up to grab a quarterback if Jalen Hurts does not show you enough. And he's going to be in that category of, you can make the argument for and you can make the argument against, and he's going to be in that middle ground where it might be a difficult decision because 1 year and 4 games would be what his sample size is. And if he's being okay after 1 year and 4 games, if you look at the trajectory, like look at Josh Allen, for example. Imagine giving up on Josh Allen after the first season. Look how many years it took for him to grow into something. And now the Buffalo Bills look at them as a championship caliber team because, well, Josh Allen needed time to grow. So if he's okay, do you wait it out because you think, well, I mean, look, it takes time to be groomed as a quarterback in this league. And there's plenty of quarterbacks that year 1 and year 2, they're not as strong as they are in year 4 and year 5 and year 6. And you're stuck in that situation, but you're not going to have that pile of assets every single trade or every single NFL draft. So you also have to pounce on an opportunity based off of timing. Sometimes the timing's just going to be unfair. So I think he's going to be okay. My expectations are okay. He'll keep you involved. He'll keep you engaged. But he'll have some ugly moments and he'll have some nice moments. And it'll make it a difficult situation by the end of the year. I think that's what it's going to come down to, which maybe that's a win for Jalen Hurts. You know, we talk about this all the time in baseball, and Reese Hoskins said it. We want to make it difficult on our front office to have to make that decision. Well, if at the end of this, we're talking about maybe we keep Jalen, maybe we don't because he made it difficult for your franchise, is that a win for Jalen Hurts, or is it a negative because you want it to be where it's a no-brainer? You know that you have your guy. That would be a win for Jalen Hurts, where we're not even having the discussion. There really is no debate. There's no half of the fan base that questions. It's everybody's all in because you saw that he's got that it factor and he's a dog and he could perform for you. But it's not necessarily the worst case either if he makes it difficult for the franchise, because that's better than the alternative, which is, okay, he's not it. So I guess it's half glass, the glass half full concept. It's that theory, half glass, half full compared to half empty, if you will. Okay isn't good enough. Well, I just go back to, if we're being honest with ourselves, good or okay, year one of some of these quarterbacks. What was Lamar Jackson early on? Well, he's still kind of struggling in that moment, and it brought a different level of versatility. So I don't know if that's necessarily the best example, but there's plenty of quarterback example. Baker Mayfield in some of his years compared to other years. If you have an okay quarterback this young in his career, does that mean the trajectory isn't going to be strong? I mean, you don't just walk into the NFL and annihilate instantly. There's a growing pain. There's learning curves. I mean, if you end up having a quarterback that's okay in one of his years, in his first full season in the National Football League, that doesn't mean it's going to be a disaster. If anything, you could look at that with almost optimism of there's room for improvement and there's room for growth. And when he does improve and get stronger and get better, you go from okay to good. And then you go from good to great. I guess the better question I should have asked is, what is okay? Well, a 6-win season with this current team, with this coaching staff that's very young and new, and he keeps you involved in all these games. You're not getting blown out. The team is being convinced by his leadership. He's got everybody rocking on the same page. He brings the intangibles that we keep stressing about. You win 6 football games and you're involved in a lot of them. I think that would be okay. It's not just about statistics, but a good amount of touchdowns, the interceptions being limited. We have to look at his arm strength this season. We have to see how many times he leaves the pocket early instead of going through the progressions. I mean, that's a big part of it, tucking and running. But how much did he tuck and run because your offensive line was in shambles last season? And part of him making those decisions to boot and get out of the pocket was because he knew he did not have a lot of time with the healthy offensive line. And not Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks did leave camp and practice earlier in the week last week because of some lingering issues. You know, it's not a great start to it all, but it's not anything significant. It's not anything crazy. But my point is, with a better offensive line and with a healthy offensive line, will he stay in the pocket to read his progressions more? Bro, should the goal be to sweep the Nats or 3 out of 4? 3 out of 4 is acceptable. I mean, you can't a 4-game series, and you can't win every single game. You can't sweep every single series this point moving forward. I mean, yeah, winning 3 of 4, that's the name of baseball. You win your series and you're good to go. You're going to have a fine record. You can't demand a sweep, especially in a 4-game set. So, yeah, I mean, a 3 of 4 is absolutely acceptable. In what world would ever winning 3 of 4 not be acceptable? Japan just won, huh? I have it on mute over to the side now, so how about that? How disappointing and brutal was that loss? That sucks. That's disappointing. What's going on here with these emails that's making noise? Stop it with this desktop noise. Well, Didi Gregorius had a couple hits yesterday that left people intrigued, that got people a bit excited. So there is an element to that. Huh. Someone said, watch out. We have another Bryce Harper hater on our hands. I will respond with, I love Bryce Harper. Like, people react to the headline without listening to the show. Or you know what? I don't give people the time of day. There's no reason for me to do that. I don't give people the time of day. Well, that's just no reason. No reason at all. That's bullpen can't close the game, so this should be fun. Well, the Phillies can't win a lot of baseball games, so this should be fun. You know what I mean? It's like it goes both ways for sure. For as many issues that the Nationals have, the Phillies have the same problems. The Phillies bullpen isn't very good. The Phillies defense is not very good. The Phillies starting pitching is very spotty. The Phillies offense is very spotty. They go from one extreme to the next, and they basically average out to a very average baseball team. So there's a lot in play here for sure. Philly fans stuck in Connecticut. That's an amazing name. We just lost 2 or 3 to the Pirates. Let's be realistic, guys. The Philly team's blows. They aren't making the playoffs. I know. I know. Look, I've been trying to stress it for a little bit of time now, but the game's back theory is keeping everybody in play. And I kind of have this vision in my mind right now of watching the Nationals lose to the Phils today, and then watching the Mets lose to the Marlins, which means we'll be even in better position, and that will get the rise going even more. And it's just horrible. It's just insane. It really is. I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely bonkers. And with that said, I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today on Coffee with Brodes. I had a lot of fun. It's a Monday morning. You know, Monday mornings are what they are. You got to get through it. I'm glad I could help everyone get through it. I'm glad you could help me get through it because, it's tough to get up on a Monday morning, but it's also great to have that cup of Joe too. It's the best in my opinion. It hits different, right? It hits different. It's like, all right, here we go again kind of vibe compared to a Friday cup of coffee. That's still a great cup of coffee in its own right. But a Monday cup of coffee is a part of life. It just hits differently. But I want to thank everyone so much for hanging out. And we'll have some conversation today after the Nationals game. And I'm sure there'll be some other things going on for sure. So thank you all so much. I'll catch you guys later.